Hello my friends, hello, I'm Matthew Street and welcome to my channel. So happy you're here. And folks, if you're a fan of the Beatles and Paul McCartney, I feel you're really going to enjoy this video, folks. So hang on, enjoy the ride. It might be a long one, but I think it'll be well worth it. This will be my official review of McCartney III. Yes, folks. Do I have it with me? No, I don't see any colored vinyl or bundles or sacks full of dice or anything lying around, or colored masks or colored diapers or whatever in the world they're selling over there at the McCartney's website. No, I don't have it yet, folks, in its physical form. So you might be saying to me, Matt, how are you able to review an album thoroughly, your official video, without having it? Well, folks, here's how I was able to listen to this brand new album. You may remember my last video, the one where I was showing a little concern about the new McCartney album after I had heard some leaked tracks from the album, about 5 complete tracks and 2 or so incomplete tracks. Very poor quality. Sonically, they didn't sound good. And one of my viewers out there, and you know who you are, and you know I promised you I would maintain your privacy, a viewer and a commenter was so nice to me. They contacted me and said, Matt, would you like to hear the album in good quality? Do you want to just hear it? They offered me an opportunity, and folks, you know, I could have said, nah, wait till December 18th. December 21st. I said, no. Thank you. I appreciate it. Send it my way. I will listen to it. And they did. And to that person, thank you. I truly appreciate what you did, your kindness to let me hear this album almost 3 weeks early and to be able to do my review early. I appreciate it. Now, for the rest of you, if you don't want any spoilers, if you don't want to know about this new McCartney III album, just click off and watch this video in 3 weeks, okay? But here we go. So, folks, rock and roll. It started with the blues and country and western back in the late 40s and into the 50s. And then the early rock pioneers came along in the 50s and they cultivated that sound and they made it into something new, fresh, exciting, and special. Young people worldwide were influenced by rock and roll in those early days. And certainly over in the UK, a young Paul McCartney and the rest of the Beatles were no exceptions. And they caught that bug and they never let go. But, you know, folks, sometimes I tell myself, where is rock and roll today? Where has it gone? Why isn't it out there in the mainstream anymore? I don't know if it will ever come back in that form like it did years ago. But there's hope, folks. There is hope. And it goes the gamut and it runs the spectrum. You get new bands out there, new bands like the Midnight Callers, who just released this new album, Red Letter Glow, last month. Fresh rock and roll, trying to bring it back. A young, hot band from New York City, one of my favorite albums of 2020, a great, stellar album, an A+ album. And then you go to the seasoned veterans like Paul McCartney, who's had a nearly 60-year career. And yet, I'm about to give the review, but rock and roll does live, folks. It does live. And those new bands, those new hot young bands coming up like the Midnight Callers, to a seasoned pro like Paul McCartney, they're trying to keep the rock and roll flame alive. I hope you'll enjoy this review. So now McCartney III is here. December 21st, 2020, it drops. 11 tracks, no single. Made in lockdown, according to Paul, during this COVID-19 crisis. And you got to give the guy credit that he kept busy. He did something. There were a lot of rumors that he might do something. He did. And I think in many ways we're all the better for it, folks. Now, I expressed concern in my first video, the one that came out almost 4 or 5 days ago. After I heard those poor quality leaks, I tried to be very respectful in that little analysis. And I certainly was cautiously optimistic. But I've listened extensively to this entire album now, folks. So are you ready? Let's go. First track on this new album, and again, I hope I have the running order correct. I think I got it from a good source. Track 1 is called Long-Tailed Winter Bird. It's a semi-instrumental. There are some flourishes of vocals throughout this song, but I would call it mainly an instrumental track. I enjoyed it as an opener. Paul is kind of getting back to his roots. My thought as I heard it several times was, you know, in the beginning when it opens up, when you get that guitar and the percussion together, and I believe he's playing the Bill Black, Elvis Presley bass on this track. For some reason, it's almost like I felt Paul's trying to start this album off by getting back to his roots, because it reminded me of the early Sun sessions, the sound, the overall feel of those instruments blending together, like kind of where it all began, you know, back in the day. A very nice groove to this track, retro yet kind of funky, a little bit hypnotizing as you listen to it. It's almost, I think it's like 5 minutes long, a very hypnotizing, groovy tune. And even though I'll say it's repetitive, it does get repetitive after a while, I like this track. I gave it a B. Track 2, Find My Way. This is a very modern sounding rocker, okay? He's singing in both his normal and in his higher register. There's quirky effects throughout this song that flourish in and flourish out again. They add charm to it. I like the little quirky instrumentation in this track. It gives it a little bit of a positive feel to it. All right. It's very upbeat and, dare I say it, slightly power popish, and you know how I feel about power pop. I like this one. That was my reaction when I heard it several times. I like it. Okay, it's kind of a little danceable mid-tempo rocker. It's got a nice heavy fat bass to it. It's okay. I'll give it a B. Track 3, Pretty Boys. Starts as an acoustic-based song, and it kind of builds as the other instruments come in. It builds a little bit. It's a pleasant mid-tempo song. His voice is very weak on this one. Thus far, this is the weakest out of the first 3 tracks as far as Paul's voice. And I'm not going to go into this big analysis about Paul's voice, folks. All right, we all know the deal. And I'm not going to get into slamming him. I'll mention it as I need to, but I'm not going to overdo it with the voice thing. But on Pretty Boys, it's pretty weak. Okay, not too good. I give Pretty Boys a C to C-. Not one of my favorite tracks on this album. The next track is Women and Wives. Now, this is a piano-based song, kind of pedestrian in nature. It kind of reminds me of that first single from Egypt Station. What was it? I don't even remember the name of it, as that said. Whatever that first piano-based single was at Egypt Station, I apologize, but I'm having a brain cramp right now. It kind of reminds me of that kind of a piano-based, slower song, but not as good as that song. So that tells you kind of what I feel about this song, if I can't remember the name to that first Egypt Station single. I'm almost 60, folks. I'm getting old. I'm up there. Doesn't really go anywhere special. The voice is meh, you know. It is what it is. Kind of boring. I just found Women and Wives to be a bore fest, okay? C-. That's what I give it. The next one, we go up a little bit, okay? This isn't going all downhill. Lavatory Lil, track 5. It's a good, raw rocker. Nice guitar vibe to it. I really like that. Pretty cool tune, I would say. I love the guitar playing by Paul. He's got some good, gritty guitar licks in there, and I like that. Overall, I think Lavatory Lil is a passable rocker, so I will give it a B. Good. The next track, Slidin', we go up another notch, okay? Slidin' has a thunderous opening, real fat bass tones, heavy tune. It's got a real nice lick in there with the bass and guitar together playing a similar lick. I really like that. I dig it. A real pounding rocker, just pounds at you, all right? I love Paul's guitar playing. I love the licks. And I'll call this a kick-ass Paul McCartney rock and roll song. Nice job, Paul. I'm going to give you an A- on Slidin'. I liked it. Now, track 7, Deep, Deep Feeling. It starts with vocals and just percussion, and then it builds slowly. And then more vocals, more backing vocals, more instrumentation start coming in. And it reminds me of a modern version of Motor of Love from 1989's Flowers in the Dirt, albeit Motor of Love is heavily produced and it's lavish and lush. deep feeling is not. It's, you know, it's more stripped down, minimal production. You know, it's a McCartney album, so it's not going to be lavish and lush. But it's a slower, epic track. It's over 8 minutes long. I think Motor of Love is like 6 something. This one's like 8. Very long song. I like Paul's guitar fills in the song and his soloing. The flourishes of his soloing in this song is very good. I enjoyed it. It's got a slow, entrancing groove to it. And I like this song. I gotta say, Deep Feeling is okay with me. I'll give it a B-. Track 8, The Kiss of Venus. Now, I gotta tell you a little funny story about this one. When I first heard it, and he's singing in that high falsetto voice of his, or as best he can, let's put it that way. And it reminded me of my grandmother, Nana. Okay, I'm sorry. My dad, you've met my dad in my videos. Please go back if you haven't. He's 90 years old, sharp as a tack. He loves music, turned me on to music and the Beatles. And he's made about 7 or 8 videos with me in the past. And we've talked music, and he's great. But his mom, who was born in 1899, was my Nana. And when Nana would take us along to church with her and she would sing some of those hymnals, Paul's voice in this kind of reminds me of my Nana chirping away in church, okay? I'm sorry, I gotta say it. But that's not a bad thing. Before you jump on me and say, you're picking on Paul. I'm not, folks. That's just what the voice reminded me of, okay? It was a little bit off-putting at first, but I got used to it after many listens. It's a solo acoustic number, and it's a pleasant melody. And I gotta say, getting used to his vocal on it, I rather enjoy it. I enjoy Kiss of Venus, despite the Nana voice, okay? But the melody sticks with you. I really enjoy the melody. It's a very good, simple song, very pleasing to me. I like Kiss of Venus. I'm giving it a B, okay? Now, Seize the Day. Mid-tempo song, piano-based tune. I would say out of all the songs in this album, Seize the Day is the most Beatlesque, if you want to say that, okay? The most Beatlesque. The message is nice. The importance of appreciating what you have in life, and that, you know, every day is a gift and we don't know what tomorrow brings, so appreciate what you have today. A nice sentiment. We've heard it before in many songs, but I will say that. I'm not going to get into too much of what the messages are of all these songs. I want, you know, you can listen to it and interpret your own meaning. Some of the lyrics are very trite and plain and not very thoughtful. And some of the lyrics are very deep and very emotional, and I enjoyed them. So I'll leave it at that. You make your own assessment on what Paul is singing about and speaking about in these songs. But Seize the Day is good. It's a good song, a pleasant song, somewhat unremarkable. Had a nice message, like I said. It was okay. I enjoyed listening to it. I'll give it a C+. Okay? Track 10, Deep Down. This is like his most modern sounding song on the album. It's kind of like a soul pop tune, you know, but not as smooth. You know how when you expect to hear a soulful pop tune, you like that smooth groove to it? This one's a little herky-jerky to me. The drums sound fake. I don't like the drumming. I don't know if he's using a machine or he's playing the drums and then adding effects to them, but the drums sound phony. It seems like a half-baked song. Very weird sounding instrumentation to it. You know, almost like someone did a demo on their boombox or something. Just not smooth, not cool. You know, if you get my drift. This is going to be definitely one of the songs I skip every time I listen to this album. It's kind of a meh song. I hate the drums on it. I really do. I hate the percussion on it. I'm going to give it a D+. All right. There's no Fs on this album, I'll say that. But Deep Down is probably the lowest rated one at a D+. Okay. Moving on to the final number, which is a little bit of a mini medley. It's a... you get a reprise of Winter Bird, or Long-Tailed Winter Bird, but here it's called Winter Bird / When Winter Comes. Now, it's a nice intro. I like that reprise or reprise, however you say it, of Winter Bird. I like that, how that comes in. But you're getting into the groove of that for a few seconds, then all of a sudden, it's very strange the way it transitions to When Winter Comes. It's too abrupt. It's almost like you had a song on the radio, Winter Bird, and you're listening to it and getting into it, and then all of a sudden, one of your friends or one of your buddies hits the new station button on the radio, and it jumps to another station to a completely different song. All of a sudden, very shockingly, and you like it hits you like, oh, another song just popped on. What's that? It's too abrupt. There should be a better transition from Winter Bird flowing into When Winter Comes. Maybe he could have added more of the guitar from Winter Bird slowly fading into When Winter Comes and let it fade out again. I don't know, but the cutoff is too abrupt between the two songs. It just doesn't fit right to me, that transition. It doesn't sit right, I should say. Anyway, let's get to When Winter Comes, though. It's a nice song. I like it. It's a pretty acoustic song. Sounds like an outtake from Ram or Wildlife to me, to be honest. It's got that flavor to it, like, I could picture that on Ram or Wildlife and digging it and getting into it. So that's what struck me. Yet I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's from the Off the Ground sessions. So I don't know why he's not saving it for when the Off the Ground Deluxe Archive box set comes out, and maybe it will be on there, who knows. But it's allegedly from Off the Ground sessions. It's a lovely little ditty, if you want to say it that way, and yet it seems kind of out of place on this album. I don't know if it's because it's been around since the early 90s, or, Paul's voice is obviously different on this track than on the other tracks. But I'm not criticizing the voice here, okay? I'm just saying it just seems out of place on this album, but it is a nice song. It's almost like Paul coming full circle. It's a cute little, a lovely little song about home and family and love, and just a nice little homespun song, family, love, most important, especially later in life, reflecting on his life maybe. But it's a beautiful little way to end the album. And as I say, coming from the beginning of the album with that Long-Tailed Winter Bird, remember I said it reminded me of the Sun sessions, almost like Paul's coming full circle, like he went from the early rocker days and then he comes, near the later part of his life, and he's realizing that what's most important is home, love, and family. Friends too, but you know what I mean, that genuineness of your life being so important today, and what you have today with your family and your loved ones, that's what matters the most. So I do get a nice vibe and a nice message from what Paul's doing with this album, and how he starts the album till he ends it with When Winter Comes. I do like that vibe. I do like the vibe of the album overall. Overall, I will say it's a pleasant album. There's some very good material. I'll say 7 out of the 11 tracks are good on different levels. I know I rated them differently, but, the good to fair, high fair, whatever you want to call it. And then you got 4 that are not so good material, in my opinion. That's shaky at best. But I will say I am honored and proud that he is still here, that he's active, that he's prolific, that he's providing us with music in 2020. God bless you, Paul. I mean, you got to thank the man and tip your hat to him and give him a salute for what he's doing and trying to do here. We don't know how many more years we'll have someone like him in our lives. So, yes, we should appreciate what we're getting from Paul McCartney, and we should cherish it. But we have to be honest and be real. So I'm not going to come here and say, all 11 tracks are A+ and it's wonderful and this is one of Paul's greatest things of all time. No, it's a pleasant, good album, folks. I think I gave it 2 A's on the A scale somewhere. I gave it like 5 B's, I believe. I think I have 3 C's and a D, counting all the 11 tracks. So, you know what? I'm going to give this album my final score for McCartney III from Matthew Street is a B. It's a good album. Thank you very much, everybody. Love you all. Appreciate you being here. Please stop in again and see some of my other videos and say hello. All right? Love you all, guys and gals. Take care. Bye.